Hi, everybody, and once again, oh, I forgot to start my timer. It is the messy middle with me, Jackie Handy, and
Me, Helen Joy.
and together every Monday at 9:45, we have been coming to you either live or like this, pre-recorded, with 10 minutes of no fluff gold. So whether you're an aspiring manager or whether you are a manager navigating the challenges that come with the role, we're here to help. And last week, what did you think of our challenging conversations video? If you haven't yet seen all of them, then go back through our feeds. We've both got them on our LinkedIn feed. So go back, take a look, have a watch. They're just 10 minutes, and I think you'll find them really beneficial across a variety of topics. This week, we are talking about our thoughts on situational leadership. Now, we're not going into the model, that would take far too long, but if you want to check it out, it was a model devised by Hershey and Blanchard, very famous model used frequently in the leadership space. And we're going to give three top tips, I suppose, around our thoughts on situational leadership, making it a bit more realistic and a bit more human rather than just, ticking a box as you're going on a training session. If you do want a training session, of course, on any of this stuff, both of us can help, can't we, Helen?
Absolutely.
We've both been in learning and development collectively for about 40 years. So that's pretty much 20 years apiece. We've done this stuff a lot, and we're trying to condense as much as we can of the gold into just this few minutes for you. So let's get started. I'm going to kick us off today in relation to situational leadership. And the one thing I will say is that the model is designed to both assess skill levels and will levels. So, what do we mean by that? So, what is a person's level of capability, ability? What skills, training, etc., have they already had that equips them to do this particular part of their job? And you're doing this by task. So, we're not putting people in boxes, we're looking at the tasks. And then the will is kind of the motivation, do they have the will to do that thing? So, how inspired, how motivated, and how driven they are to do that. So, be careful of looking at one without the other. Somebody that's got will, maybe a new starter, for example, maybe that's you as a new manager, but you don't yet have the skill, you need a different type of leadership. And similarly, if you have a lot of skill, but you're struggling on your motivation, you need something different too, right? And that probably takes me nicely to segue over to you, Helen, to talk about your first point today.
Absolutely. Because the key is to recognize as a manager is identifying and recognizing where that person really is.
Right.
Not where you think they are, not where you wish they were, not where you want them to be, not where they think they are, because there's sometimes a real disconnect between that. So it's recognizing and identifying where that person really is in terms of the skill level. Do they need extra training, or are they already as skilled as they need to be? And how motivated are they in reality? Are they telling you that they're motivated when actually their actions aren't measuring up to that? But focus on where they actually are, not where you think or want them to be.
Yeah, totally. And this leads beautifully into where I'm going next, in that, managers, leaders, if you are facilitating these kinds of conversations and utilizing situational leadership, really understand what your role is in the process, right? Your role isn't to control it. Your role is to guide it. Guide the conversation. Your role is not to control the person, but to guide them. That's what great leaders do. They help equip people with what they need, but without necessarily dictating everything. Now, sure, there are parts of situational leadership, depending on where your person is, where a larger amount of, I guess, I don't like to say control, but we will. I'm using this term, but you might need to give them a bit more control than others. And I'm sure we're going to talk a bit more about that. But it's not about controlling. First and foremost, it's two humans talking, discussing, and navigating their worlds together. So be human first, right? And really think about guiding those conversations rather than controlling them.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's the second point for me is kind of following on from that is recognizing what your default management leadership style is. And again, not what you wish it was, not what you we all have a default,
Right.
whether we want to admit it to ourselves or not. Some of us have more of a preference, more of a natural inclination to be that little bit more kind of command and control style. The do as I say element. And then right on the other end of that spectrum, you've got the people who are kind of going, yeah, yeah, do what you want. That's fine, and leaving people, and both of those styles and everything in between those two styles have their place within situational leadership. It's making sure that you know where you naturally land so that you recognize when it is time for you to go, right, I need to step out of my comfort zone a little bit and use this style with this person at this point. Because we can naturally, especially under pressure, we can default to command and control, or
Default to type,
completely step
right?
back away. Yeah, absolutely. Pressure, pressure, pressure. Oh, make it happen, make it
Right.
happen. And actually recognizing that might not be the best for that person.
Yeah. Situational leadership is all about flex, isn't it? Right. And the model, if you go through official training around the model, you'll see it. But it requires you to be highly emotionally intelligent and highly connected with that person in front of you. If you're not, you're going to misread it. And as Helen says, we will default to type, and potentially that's not going to be the best self to bring to the table for that particular situation. So, my final piece of advice, and I'm sticking with the whole human first piece, but your job is to flex. I think often we try as managers, especially when we're newer, to draw people into our way of working, our way of thinking. And, life's not like that. When you're dealing with different people, it is our job as a manager to flex our behavior and an approach for the needs of that individual. So really focus on the person rather than the process. Always build your emotional intelligence and flex, my friends. That would be the final thing I've got to say about it. What about you, Helen? Anything more to add?
Yoga classes for all of us.
Yes, quite. Yeah,
Used to be a lot
absolutely.
easier.
Yeah,
I think for me, it's very much a kind of that recognizing and again, yeah, using that flexing and knowing when to use the appropriate style of magic for the appropriate person.
right.
But also making sure that when we've got those top performers, those high achievers, those people who, are style with them, and most of the time what they need is that delegation, that hands off, that letting them utilize all of that skill, letting them bring all of that will into everything that they do.
Right.
Sometimes, and again, when we're newer or when we're kind of going through a period that's quite difficult as a manager, we can find that we step too far away from those people and we get to a point where we're just leaving them to it rather than being the leaders that they need and making sure they know that we're still there to support them. We
Mm,
just step right away. And what that can lead to is that you end up with those high performers, high achievers feeling undervalued, undersupported, underappreciated because you've given them too much freedom. And they
right.
want the freedom and they want to be able to get on with it. But what they also want to know is that you're still there, that they're still valued, they're still appreciated. So make sure that you just don't go too far down that route.
Totally. I think really it's just let's just leave people with this. Ultimately, folks, your job as a leader is to create other leaders, right? That's how I always love to think about it. You're not there to keep people down and beneath you. That's not going to get you anywhere in the long run. So, yes, absolutely. Flex your style, but when you see those high performers, give them their wings, really. Let them fly, let them be empowered, let them be more autonomous, and they will thank you for it. And so will your own career thank you for it too in the future. Helen, I think we've had another wonderful conversation, and I hope that our viewers agree. What have you taken from this? Has it resonated with you? Have you taken a little nugget of gold? We hope you have, to take forward into your own leadership. If you want to talk about any of this stuff, or indeed anything to do with leadership or professional speaking in this space as well, then you can reach out to either one of us. Helen, quickly, where can they find you?
Yep, LinkedIn for me. Just drop me a DM on here. Easy as.
Perfect. And the same for me. You can reach out here or on my website, jackiehandy.com. But that's it. Haven't even got time for a proper goodbye.